Hello and welcome to Pock and Rob. This video is the last of a mini-series where I've gone back and I've re-ranked my favourite albums of each decade. In each case I have taken what was originally a top 15 and expanded it to a top 50, and I'm doing exactly the same for this decade, which is the 2010s. It's a while since I did the last one of these, probably at least a year, and that's because the 2010s is a difficult decade for me to rank. It's not my favourite. There are many albums I like. There are many albums I like a huge bunch, but not vast numbers that I love. So I'm going to start now with number 50 and Cradle to the Grave by Squeeze. But there is some good stuff on here. I just think it's fine. Cradle to the Grave by Squeeze. Number 49, I have placed Wee Wee CC Ya Ya Da Da by Madness. This is the last Madness album, I believe, with all 7 of the Madness members in it. Not an album I love, but there are some individual tracks on here that I think are amongst Madness's best work. So, for instance, Misery, great song. How Can I Tell You? I Never Knew Your Name, which might be the best thing on here. Madness, Wee Wee CC Ya Ya Da Da, number 49. Number 48, Third Day with Revival. This is the last Third Day album. The opening track, Revival, is absolutely fantastic, and there's a really solid cover on here of Loves Me Like a Rock by Paul Simon. There were only 2 members of Third Day left by this album, and so maybe it was right to say they're calling it a day. Interestingly enough, they have reformed for a 30th anniversary tour. Are they coming to the UK? No. So I don't get to see them. But Revival by Third Day, my number 48. Number 47 is an album that it's taken me a long time to really like, and it's Believers by Deacon Blue. Whilst things like This Is Not a Love Song is really good and the title track is excellent, as is I Will and I Won't, it suffers from just feeling at times like another Deacon Blue album. But sometimes Deacon Blue albums take a long time and they really infuse and grow on me. It's my number 47. Number 46, another album that has taken a while for me to really get. It is Look Now by Elvis Costello and the Imposters. I've had this not long since it came out, and I remember thinking that the stuff on here, like his last 3 collaborations with Burt Bacharach, and I don't like the Burt Bacharach collaboration album, probably put me off it a bit, but they're actually better than some of the stuff that's on Painted from Memory. There's Burnt Sugar Is So Bitter, which I think is a co-write with Carole King. And the final track on side 1, all about the man who lost the British Empire, is actually peak Costello songwriting. It's called I Let the Sun Go Down. And one thing I forgot on Look Now, which is absolutely brilliant, is Unwanted Number. Now, I have loved the song Unwanted Number since I first heard it on the Grace of My Heart soundtrack, performed by For Real. This is Elvis's version. It is a cast iron unbreakable song. Brilliant Unwanted Number. And it's meant to sound a little bit like a Carole King song, which is interesting. He's then writing with Carole King on this album. Look Now, it's my number 46. At number 45, Green Day's Uno. So in 2012, Green Day released 3 albums a week apart on each of them. Uno was the first, and it contains some decent songs. Sweet 16, Oh Love, Let Yourself Go. But the best thing on here, for me anyway, a Green Day gold classic, and that's Carpe Diem. Carpe Diem is a great song. It's my number 45. At 44, an album that I didn't know who this artist was until 2 years ago. And I've started to go back into her back catalogue. This hasn't gripped me in the way that it has many other people. I've seen this on 200, the list of 200 best albums ever. I don't think it's that. Golden Hour by Casey Musgraves. But I've got a feeling the more I listen to it, the more it's going to grow for me. At the moment, I like it. It may become I love it, but I can't see it supplanting the wonderful Deeper Well from 2023, which is absolutely brilliant album. But it's good. I like it enough. Golden Hour, Casey Musgraves, number 44. Number 43 is True by Avicii. This was his first album, contains Hey Brother. It's also got Wake Me Up, which was a number one single, brilliant song. Addicted to You, Liar Liar. I'm not an EDM fan, but I will make an exception for Avicii. And I have put True at number 43. Number 42, Iron Maiden's The Final Frontier. Whenever I put an Iron Maiden album on, certainly when it involves Bruce Dickinson singing, I'm going to have a good time at some point. This is not one of Iron Maiden's strongest albums, but it does have the title track, Final Frontier, which I think is fantastic. Mother of Mercy. It has Coming Home and El Dorado. And probably the best thing on here, which is the final closing epic, which is When the Wild Wind Blows. An absolutely beautiful, if you can call an Iron Maiden track, beautiful piece of music inspired by the Nuclear Armageddon story of When the Wind is Blowing by Raymond Briggs. Final Frontier, my number 42. And at 41, to round off this bunch of 10, it's Green Day again with Revolution Radio. This is a punchy Green Day album. It's not a great Green Day album. I don't think they had a particularly great 2010s. In fact, I would also go as far as to say that they were preparing for their worst album in 2020. There's not a huge out on this album that actually I think stands out, but as an album it's coherent and it's a solid listen throughout, unlike the trilogy of albums that came before it. Revolution Radio, number 41. Number 40, I have placed another band that I do not think had a particularly good 2010s. This is Muse and Simulation Theory. I think it's their best 2010s album. I am probably quite rare in thinking that, because I think a lot of people rate The Second Law as better. But Simulation Theory, I think, is where they got their mojo back for me. I enjoy the stuff on here. Obviously, you can see from the cover it's quite inspired by Stranger Things, as in the first series or so of Stranger Things. It's a very 80s vibe. There's some electronical stuff on it, but when you've got tracks like Algorithm, Thought Contagion and Pressure, it's not a great Muse album. This is the thing. But it is a decent Muse album. It's my number 40. Number 39 is an album I don't own. It is This One's For You by Luke Combs. Now, I started to listen to Luke Combs as a result of another artist who will appear later. I will name check who that is when I get there. And he's a country artist that I've grown to really like a lot. There's a new album coming from him soon, which I'm quite stoked about. My entry into this album was When It Rains It Pours, which is a brilliant country song. I think when I finally get a copy of this album, I will probably listen to this album with fresh ears again. I think it'll climb higher, because I know when I've listened to it, I've had a good time. Beer Can's also a great song. Really good country rock album. This One's For You by Luke Combs. At number 38, the second album by Paul Heaton and Jackie Abbott. On here is The Austerity of Love and Heatongrad, Lonesome and Sad Millionaire, and Wives 1, 2 and 3. I like Paul Heaton's songwriting a lot. There is a certain amount that I have to be in the right mood to listen to it sometimes. And when I am in the right mood, this is a great Heaton Abbott album. My number 38. Number 37 is an album that is too long. And I may do a reimagined about this. It's The Next Day by David Bowie. David Bowie had released Reality in 2002 and then pretty much gone silent for a decade. And then one morning I was listening to Radio 5. It was waking us up on the clock radio. And they played the surprise new single by David Bowie. Nobody knew it was coming. And it was Where Are They Now? It's a classic piece of Bowie and one of his best songs. On here you've also got The Stars Are Out Tonight, and the fact that Bowie was back was always to be celebrated. Like I say, this album is too long. If you were to condense it down to the tightness of his 70s work, I think you would end up with a near perfect Bowie album. So I'll have a go at that at some point. But the next day, it's my number 37. At 36, it's another Heaton and Abbott album, but this one's Crooked Calypso. Now, this is their third, and it's a step up even from Wisdom, Laughter and Lines. I Gotta Praise is one of my favourite Heaton lyrics, one of my favourite Heaton songs. It absolutely works so well. Brilliant lyric, brilliant song, brilliant tune. She Got the Garden is another great song. The deluxe version is the one to get, because perhaps the second best song from the entire project is actually an extra track, and it's Since My Dearest Husband. I love that song. It should have been on the base album. And so if you can get the deluxe version, you get a better Crooked Calypso than if you don't. My number 36. And number 35 is the artist I alluded to when I was talking about Luke Combs. It is Eric Church and Mr. Misunderstood from 2015. This is the artist that I first listened to in 2021 when I heard Heart and Soul, and caused me to reinvestigate his entire back catalogue, and then to discover a few more country artists that he's collaborated with, one of whom was Luke Combs. This is worth checking out for the title track and record year. I always have a good time when I stick an Eric Church album on. Always. My number 35. And I'm sticking with him for number 34, which is Desperate Man. Marginally better, the album that came after. You have a title track, Desperate Man. You've also got The Snake, which opens the album. There's Monsters. Now, Monsters is a deeply affecting track. This was about his response to a shooting that took place at a country music festival. And like I say, I always have a good time with an Eric Church album. My number 34. Number 33, another artist where I struggle to place a lot of it when I'm talking about the album, but I know I have a good time with it. It's The Struts with Young and Dangerous, their second record. A step up from Everybody Wants. There is so much of Queen and bits of Def Leppard and the glam rock era in this band. And I've said on this channel multiple times when it's come up, this guy, Luke Spiller, he is one of those vocalists I can just, whatever he's singing, I'm enjoying what he's singing. And he could sing The Phone Book, and I'd go, that's brilliant. His voice just hits the right notes, hits the right vibe for me every time. And so I know I have a great time with Young and Dangerous by The Struts. My number 33. At 32 is an album that I would not have had in this list about 2 weeks ago. And then I re-listened to it and I thought, actually, this has clicked in a way that it didn't. And I saw this guy live on tour. This is Richard Thompson, 13 Rivers. I found this quite a difficult listen when I first heard it. I didn't love it immediately, but I do now. So Bones of Gilead is a great song. The Storm Won't Come, The Rattle Within, Trying, Oh Cinderella. It's a little bit long, which is a common problem in this particular era of music. But 13 Rivers, my number 32. And number 31, this is my son's copy because mine is the re-recorded Taylor's version of Red. But I think Red itself is a great pop album. There are so many songs on here that are just great pop. Stuff like I Knew You Were Trouble When You Walked In. You've got We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. Stay, Stay, Stay is lovely. The title track, Red. This is a great pop album, Red. Red, my number 31. We're about halfway through the video, so I'm now going to remind you to subscribe if you haven't already done so. To click the thumbs up to like the video, this really helps with the YouTube algorithm. The bell will give you notifications of future content, and the share button means you can share it with someone else who might like the video. Into the top 30, and from now on you're going to get occasions where there's going to be something about an album that I covered in the original top 15. When that happens, I will go through it quickly. Go back and watch the original 15 to see what I say about those albums, but this is the first one of those. At number 30, and the biggest casualty of this re-rank. Since I Saw You Last by Gary Barlow. I originally put this at 15. There are great songs on here. It's just I discovered that there were more albums that, when I really thought about it, I preferred. But Requiem, this is worth the admission price for Requiem. And Small Town Girls is absolutely lovely as well. Solid album, actually. But it has tumbled out my top 15. It was number 15, it's now number 30. At number 29, and therefore above that, The Fizz, F to Z of pop. I am a Bucks Fizz fan. I always have been a Bucks Fizz fan since I was a kid. And I have to say, I love this album. I love the pop sensibility. Home for My Heart, which was written by Jay Aston and her husband. Great pop song. We've also got Break the Ice and Up for the Fight. It's not higher for one reason, and that is a re-recording of My Camera Never Lies. You don't need to re-record your old hits when you've got such good stuff being written by Mike Stock. And I think it's Amen. Yeah, Amen is written by Kyla Stroud, who is Cheryl Baker's daughter. This was a triumphant return to the recording studio for the artists formerly known as Bucks Fizz and now known as The Fizz. 29. Number 28. I have placed The Common Linnets. There was a bit of a oblique link from The Common Linnets to Bucks Fizz. Common Linnets were the Netherlands' entry for Eurovision in 2014 when they lost to Austria and Conchita Wurst. It came second, but it's a great country ballad, and the whole album is really solid. So that Eurovision entry is what opens up the album, Calm Before the Storm, which remains one of my all-time favourite Eurovision songs. Lovers and Liars is an absolutely great song, and this is a country hoedown album, and really good, and they should have won. They really should have won. I'm not knocking the Conchita Wurst song, it was good. A Bond theme that wasn't a Bond theme, but this was the better song. And actually, that song reached the top 10 in the UK, placing higher than what actually won, because I think we know what good music sounds like in the UK, and Common Linnets was good music. My number 28. Number 27, this was in my original top 15, so again this has tumbled a bit. Echoes of Our Time by Shakin' Stevens. Yes, Shakin' Stevens. This is a really good album. Go and check it out. At number 26, this is their third appearance on this ranking, and this is their best album of the decade, Trey by Green Day. I am not alone in believing that of the trilogy of Uno, Dos, Trey is the best record. This contains Brutal Love and Drama Queen and Little Boy Named Train and Walk Away. There is an attempt to try and recreate the magic of something like American Idiot or 21st Century Breakdown in 99 Revolutions, and I don't think it quite works. But it is it's a good Green Day album. And had they had the common sense to pare down Uno, Dos and Trey into maybe one album of a CD length, then I think we'd look back on the 2010s for Green Day as a lot more fondly. But Trey, it's the best of those three, and it's their best 2010s album. Number 25, The Hipsters by Deacon Blue. This was a triumphant return to the charts and to the recording studio for Deacon Blue. So The title track of The Hipsters is really fine. So Turn is an absolutely great song. I would also point you to Here I Am in London Town, a very low-key opening to the album. It's my number 25. Number 24, this album was way lower a couple of weeks ago until I again listened to it again and went, ooh, there's really good stuff on it. Cause and Effect by Keane. Released in 2019, Side 1, as often is the case with a Keane record, is far better than Side 2. Love Too Much, Put the Radio On. The Way I Feel, absolutely great song. Stupid Things, another terrific song. Possibly my favourite on this album. And Phases. I'm really hoping there's a new Keane album this year, in 2026. It's been a while. It's my number 24. Number 23, the final album from this artist. It is Mike Oldfield and Return to Ommadawn. Ommadawn was released in 1975. It took him until 2018 to do a sequel. It's a worthy sequel, and there's even a little callback in it to On Horseback from the original Ommadawn. It's like classic early Mike Oldfield, which is a good thing. My number 23. And number 22, I have placed Jacob Bryant, Practice What I Preach. Another artist who I sincerely hope will be releasing some new material this year. This is a country artist. Another person who I discovered as a result of listening to a bit of Eric Church. And indeed, his second album made my top albums of 2022. Pour Whiskey on My Grave is his best known song. 25 in Jail, I think, is a great song. Really hope he's going to have a new album this year. My number 22. And at number 21, my favourite album from this band in this decade, A New House by Deacon Blue. The Hipsters, I think, was a dry run to see whether or not the world was ready to buy and listen to Deacon Blue again, and they were. And so when they then came out, I think it was less than 18 months later with A New House, it was rather a surprise. Bethlehem Begins is on here. We've also got Wild and March and the title track A New House. It is, I think when I did my Deacon Blue ranking last year after the release of The Great Western Road, I put this as my third favourite Deacon Blue album, and I stand by that. A New House is my number 21. Into the top 20, and there's going to be a lot of things that I do really quickly because a lot more of my top 15 has stayed in my top 20. But at number 20, The Greatest Showman soundtrack. This is a surprisingly good album. An incredibly strong set of songs. I mean, the film is a complete and utter tissue of lies, but this has obviously got This Is Me, the real breakout song of it. But it's such a good record. The title track is fantastic. Come Alive, Rewrite the Stars, The Other Side, my number 20. Number 19 was originally my number 13, Divide by Ed Sheeran. Number 18, this album I really disliked for a decade. And then I thought, you know what, 10 years on since it was released, I better give it another go. Black Star by Bowie. Like I said, I really, really intensely disliked this album when I first heard it. I got rid of it. I gave it to my son. My son decided he didn't want to keep it anymore, and so it was going to go into a charity shop, and I thought, oh, you know what, I'm going to give it another go. It's 10 years since it was released, and therefore almost 10 years since he died. He died 2 days after it was released. So I re-listened to it, the 10th anniversary of the album, and I went, oh, it is really good. Black Star, biggest surprise of the 2010s for me, is how much I've grown to like this. So we have on here, we have Black Star, we have Sue, or In the Season of Crime. There is Lazarus, 'Tis a Pity She Was a Whore, and it concludes with Dollar Days and I Can't Give Everything Away, which are both great songs. I think I'm going to learn to not just like Black Star, but love it over the course of time. And yeah, it is a goodbye to the world letter from Bowie to his fans. He knew he was dying. It was it's grown to be a really great album for me. Number 17, I have placed Chief by Eric Church. I don't own a copy. It seems to be remarkably expensive on CD and ruinously expensive on vinyl, but I would like a copy, so if you want to send me one, I'm up for that. On here we've got Springsteen, we have Drink in My Hand, which is a great country song. Jack Daniels, it's my number 17. Number 16, Bruno Mars with Doo-Wops and Hooligans. What a great pop album. Full of classic singles, 3 of which I think hit number 1, but we've got Just the Way You Are, Grenade, the Lazy Song. Oh, I love the Lazy Song. We've also got on here Marry You and Count on Me. And it's just a really sunny album. This is a really sunny album, Doo-Wops and Hooligans. It's great fun. Number 15, I have placed Move by Third Day. This came out in 2010. Came off the back of what I think is their finest album, which is Revelations from 2008. This has Make Your Move, Trust in Jesus, Surrender, On Be Your Miracle. And Third Day is a band that I have a great deal of affection for. My number 15. And number 14, I have placed Stories by Avicii. This was originally my number 5. It has tumbled down a bit. I'm not a massive fan of EDM, but I make the exception for Avicii. And number 13, my favourite Eric Church album, certainly of the 2010s, quite possibly rivaling Heart and Soul, The Outsiders. This is an album quite dark in places. It's really rocky and solid. Eric Church told people not to kind of shuffle this when it was available on streaming, because he said it's meant to be listened to in order. So we have the title track of The Outsiders. Talladega is on here. There's a really My Dark Side. Ooh, that's a really, really good song. That's Damn Rock and Roll and Prince of Darkness. This is a really, really good southern rock country album. Eric Church, The Outsiders, my number 13. And number 12 is my highest placed Christian album of the decade. Everything in Colour by Ben Cantillon. There are so many songs on here that I know every word to because they are done quite often in my church. It's a shame this has never really been followed up, because I think this is one of the best worship albums I've ever heard. So we have the title track of Everything in Colour. On here is Guardian and Worth It All. Love Came Down and Saviour of the World. It's a really good album. It just happens to be a really, really good worship album. I wish more worship albums were as accessible and usable in church as this. Everything in Colour, my number 12. And number 11, and this was originally my number 7, Still by Richard Thompson. Number 10, and this was probably originally my number 16 when I first did this video, but I've listened to it a lot more since. Book of Souls by Iron Maiden. Their longest album is a double CD, is a triple album. If Eternity Should Fail is in my favourite Iron Maiden songs ever. Empire of the Clouds is the longest thing they ever recorded. But between those two tracks are things like Speed of Light and The Red and the Black and the title track, The Book of Souls, and Death or Glory and Man of Sorrows, and it's a really good album. Really, really good Iron Maiden album. Book of Souls is number 10. At number 9, I have placed New by Paul McCartney. The more I've listened to this album, the more I've enjoyed it, the more I have grown to love it. I think this is it's not quite a masterpiece, but it is a really excellent album containing New, Queenie Eye, Save Us, Alligator, On My Way to Work, and Looking at Her, and I Can Bet, and I know so much of it because it's Paul McCartney, and he is my favourite artist, and he's the person I listen to the most. You know what, I was thinking the other day, I don't think there's a single day goes by where I don't at some point sing to myself a Paul McCartney song, whether that be a Beatle one or more often something from his solo career. Every single day, and some of them are bound to be from this album. New. It's my number 9. Number 8, originally my number 4, Cast in Steel by Aha. Number 7, this was originally my number 9. I don't own it, I do want to. Crimson Red by Prefab Sprout. Number 6, the highest new entry on this list. 1989 by Taylor Swift. This might lay claim to be a perfect pop album. Stacked with hits like Bad Blood, Shake It Off, Blank Space. Blank Space, my favourite song on here. Welcome to New York. Are We Out of the Woods? Clean. It's just a terrific pop album, and I don't think she's done anything better than 1989. My number 6. Number 5, originally my number 3, but it's gone down a little bit. 21 by Adele. And number 4, Strangeland by Keane. This was originally 14 on my list, but I've grown to... At the time, I think I said Strangeland was a good album, not great. I now think it is a great album. My number 4. And number 3, I have placed 25 by Adele. This was originally my number 6. It's gone up a bit. And I faced the same dilemma for my number 1 spot as I did when I did the original 2010 ranking. However, this time I have made a distinction. And number 2, Egypt Station by Paul McCartney. If this were the Traveller's Edition, it would probably be the number 1 spot, but I have to place it on what was released as the album at the time, and it contains For You. And it doesn't contain some of the great additional tracks that are on the Traveller's Edition. The Traveller's Edition would take the top spot, but it's not the real album. The real album, the real 16-track album, has got some flow issues, and that's why it's actually number 2. But the songwriting on it, generally, I adore it. Which leaves at number 1, on its own this time and not tied, Staying at Tamara's by George Ezra. So that concludes my now top 50 albums of the 2010s. Let me know in comments below what you think of it. I do think this is one that, come another 5 years' time or so, I'll probably have completely revised. I'll be back soon with another video. But until then, I'd remind you to subscribe, like, hit the bell, to share the video with someone else who might like it, and thanks for watching.